Now we'll talk about this new friend from Congo, Danny, who asks how to satisfy our desire to be free from the eons of agreements that we've made unconsciously over countless lifetimes. So he seems to intimate that we have been too long doing this, and maybe fears that what we are doing isn't enough to free us in this time. So he wants to know how to realize this desire to be free from these unconscious agreements that he has been making over countless lifetimes. Duane?
Okay, so when you ask these questions, Charles, which are good questions for people to hear, I'm always going to go a step further. When people ask questions, they're looking for an answer that's agreeable to what they supposedly want, which is fine, but I don't do it that way. When I was doing introductory lectures in the past, years and years ago, I did them for 30 years in the public, I soon realized that many of the people that came simply wanted a confirmation to hear their own so-called truth. I could see that in the audiences. They just wanted to hear that what they were already considering was okay. And so really, where is that? So the desire to be free, all right, so that's an idea. So we create an idea. And so that gets us somewhere. It's kind of like, going to the supermarket. All of a sudden, you're out of food. And you realize, gee, I want to go to the supermarket. It's the same thing. So you have this desire to be free. So you go to the supermarket, and you walk through the door, you're in the supermarket. So the desire to be free, but realistically, the world does not know what real freedom is. That's why I use the term real freedom, because freedom is talked a lot about in different areas and different things. Oh, we're free to do this, we're free to do that. These are implied freedoms, is all they are, because there's no freedom here. There is none in creation. There can't be, because it's cause and effect. It's not about that. And cause and effect creation is not about freedom. This is where everything here is implied, whatever it is. It's like the business world. There's no such thing as the business world. It's something created and implied that it is what it supposedly is. That's it. And yes, we can do that. We need to create. This is why we came here. But it's not what we think it is. That becomes the difference. We don't negate it. We simply see it for what it is. And we become involved and take on the challenge of it so that through it we can become more aware. See, just like a soldier going through boot camp, he goes through this training so that he can eventually stand up on his own and face whatever he has to. And it's the same thing. We are going through creation, but we've got all these distortions to deal with and all these ideas. And most people, they come into these spiritual paths and religion or whatever it is, and they want to stay passive. They want to be taken care of and coddled. Well, eventually you realize that doesn't work. And it never does, because it just gives you more lifetimes of agreement, etc. So the idea to be free is not at all what you think it is. Again, look at the sun shining. The sun is demonstrating more than any freedom that you can consider. But can you recognize what it's demonstrating? Yeah. It is a reference to reality. That's all it is, it's a reference. Use the sun a lot because it's wonderful. Yeah, people love the sun. We love the sun, and we're lucky we have it. We're lucky we're not on some planet where there's no star there. shining on us that's dark. There's many planets out there that are all by themselves, so we happen to be on one, and we happen to be on one that has supposed life and trees and oceans and whatever, because you look at the other planets just in this solar system, the other 8 or 9 or whatever there is, there's nothing there because they've already been devastated by the people that rule this planet. This is what they do. They destroy. All they do is destroy. They're an infection, and this is all they know. And so with the new presentation, this is a step up to where, everybody can be okay, and everybody can have what they want. You really can. You can have anything you want. But after a while, you realize you don't want certain things because it doesn't make sense with what is real. Look at the birds. They don't go buy cars. They don't need a car. Or, even the animals, the chipmunks or the squirrels. They look at people driving cars or skateboards or bicycles or whatever it is they're doing. Yeah, they don't need it. And so we've agreed to whatever it is here, to being funny, and people feel that when they have these things, they have a car, well, they have more freedom to drive around, etc. No, you don't. You're actually more restricted. You've restricted yourself to the earth because actually you can make the physical body fly if you really want to. That takes a lot of effort, but again, we've agreed to conformity, and so all the freedoms are implied. So the desire for freedom is the first step, is what it is, but it's not realistic because you have to learn to see what real freedom is. It's a seeing and being. And so so those are the first steps, and you can't explain the real position, not at all. That's why I call it UP. That's why I created the idea of UP, universal positioning. And with Paul, it was soul travel. It was like experience or movement from here to there. There's no such thing. We do experience that, but wherever you go, when you're over there, you're really here. So what's going on? Okay, so it's the nowness, it's the isness. Life is. So freedom isn't over there. It's not that you're going to get freedom, okay? Because again, I've explained that life is an isness. It's already complete. So there's nothing you can add or decide that's going to make it better. So this is where recognition comes in, you see? So the old ideas of going through steps, initiations, and all these things, those are cute ideas. They don't mean anything, because life's an isness. So I just walk around all that stuff. I just bypass it. I went through it, and I see it. That's why when I created the new presentation, I don't use any of that stuff, because you know what? It's very elementary, immature things that no longer work because it's a new nowness. I like that, and I recognize that life is new now, and it isn't interested in the old stuff anymore. It babied people long, so you got to keep up. Yeah, you got to keep up. So if your friends are leaving in the car, you better run fast and hop on the bumper. Otherwise, whatever, you're left behind. But nobody has to be left behind. This is what's so cool about it. It's recognizing as an isness. And I would basically say, forget the idea of freedom. Forget all that. Learn to see what life is and stand real with that. And then all of a sudden, you will like the sun shining. The sun is not desiring freedom. It just is. It shines. And so that's that recognition with what life is. It's a recognition. It's not an idea to where, oh, gee, I'm a being of light, and everybody's beings of light. Well, there you start off with that idea. But to have the real intent, sincerity, and recognition, that's the all aliveness that you become, and life sees that. It sees, and the boys, the real guides, see when you recognize that, because they see your intent. And this is where they guide each person accordingly. So each person decides, Just like anything in your life, you decide where you live, you decide what job you want, career, all these things that are in the play yard of the business world and on Earth. And so they're going to give you hints that could be what could be better, etc. But we don't all pick it up. And I'm not saying I'm perfect with it, but I just take the risk. And I see by taking the risk that I just jump in and I calculate things. I use my awareness to see what's going on. Doesn't always come out perfect the way I want it to, so I have to adjust, and I take on the challenge to make it so, and I do the best I can, because so much of the time I'm dealing with others, and I'm not into controlling them or deciding for them unless they've stepped up to support the focus that I do. Then it becomes different. Then it becomes, okay, this is what we're doing, and this is what you're going to do, and this one, and we'll all do something together and see the bigger picture so that it works out. But when it's with yourself and in the business world or whatever, you cannot decide for them. But this idea of freedom that we have here is an illusion, because life is an isness. So you compare everything in creation to whatever is real once you've recognized it, and you see that it's not about freedom. It's about being real with what life is, and it's better than any freedom that you can consider. So, people think that, oh, I'll make a lot of money and I'll be free. I'll be free of the system. No, you're not. You're more wrapped up and attached to the system than ever, because most people that make a lot of money, they're afraid they're going to lose it. They have all of a sudden they're going to realize, oh, gee, we got to protect our money. Oh, the government's going to tax us, whatever. Oh, what do we do? See, all of a sudden more concern comes in about this created thing that has been created to control you. But people don't see that. They've been taught to chase money, thinking that, oh, there's your freedom. No, there's no freedom. Okay, maybe you get a good job, a good paying job. Again, money was created to control others. It's to steal your labor. So you got to go out and work for money to pay the rent. Birds don't do that. No, they figured it out. Us humans haven't figured it out yet. But look at the Amazon people or the indigenous people. They don't chase money. They don't need money. It's a joke. They don't need computers, whatever. This is what we're communicating on, because we lack the awareness. But at the same time, this is how the world is, so this is how I'm communicating with the world too. And Paul did it in his day. He didn't have it, but more so today. So we use the mediums, the Facebook and whatever else out there, the Twitter and WhatsApp, etc., cell phones. We use all this because this is how people have decided to live and be. And so they apply the ideas of especially love and freedom to different things. Well, again, there's no real love here. There's feelings and attachments and sensations and thrills and wants and desires. But real love, no. Again, the sun shining. So, yes, this idea of chasing freedom is an illusion, Charles. Really is. And as you start to become more aware, you start to giggle and go, wow, it is. There's something better, but you have to see it. And so eventually, this is what I'm trying to present to people, attempting in many ways and giving them hints that once we stand real and see each other and recognize being to being, it's so much better. And we don't need any of this stuff. We don't need the controllers or the authorities anymore. We don't need to look to anybody. We become life itself, and not gods like people think. This is the misinterpretation where people start thinking that, well, I can create anything. A real life is not about creation. It's about awareness. Creation is a process. It's an elementary process. That's it. And you can create anything you want and think that, oh, I'm a god, I can create this, or I'm brilliant, or whatever. Fine, have fun with yourself. It's just a little self, and it will just keep rotating and dragging you along, because life is about awareness. It's an all aliveness that has its own reality, and this is what I call perceiving, where you learn to see it for what it is. Yeah, so there you go, Charles. There's an idea. There's a hint.